Paul, it looks like we are on the air.
How you doing? Good morning, Baldwin. Fantastic.
Great. How's it? I think this one's going to be a little bit better than the last episode, because the last episode we were sort of totally scrambling and up on a learning curve here. And I remember like the bandwidth wasn't good enough, so let's hope we fix that one today. But anyway, hello everybody. Welcome to the second episode of Emerging Frontiers TV. My name is Baldwin Burgess, and I'm here today with Paul Henderson, one of the founders of Emerging Frontiers. And Emerging Frontiers is a platform that's going to change the way that investors and frontier markets work together. It's gonna be merging crowd finance, impact investing, and private equity, and put that all on one platform and create this very big, visible buffet for investors and entrepreneurs to get their things done. Now, the last episode was a bit high level, where we sort of spoke about what this is all about. But today we're going to get a little bit more practical, right, Paul? What are we going to talk about today?
Yep. Well, just a relatively short one this time, Baldwin. As I said, we talked about the high level last time, about why we're doing this and what we're hoping to achieve and why we think it's needed right now, especially in frontier and emerging markets. But this time, it's really a run-through for investors and business owners and entrepreneurs as users, and in practical terms, how can they today go and sign up, what's there now, and what we hope to build out of that as we develop alongside all the features that are going to be on the platform in the coming weeks and months. Exactly,
and we're also going to be sharing some screens. I mean, we're going to attempt to do that, right, Paul? Because again, these Hangout rules always keep changing, so we're going to give that a go. But in any case, so why don't we start with let's do a little walk up on the sign up screen. So
yeah,
what do we're going to do this from the point of view of the investor now. So what do they actually get to see?
Okay, so let me see if I can make this work.
While you're setting that up, I'll just I think one of the most amazing things about this platform is that this is going to make previously rather inaccessible markets available to a wide area of investors, right?
Indeed, that's the whole idea. I mean, for an investor's point of view, what we're hoping to deliver here is visibility, obviously practical access, so they can get their money into these really good projects that are out there in frontier and emerging markets, and give them the transparency that they need as well to keep track of that, and also share their views and ideas with other like-minded people from around the world. And they can do that. You can see the screen there. That's what we have as Emerging Frontiers. As it started life a couple of years ago as a news portal, as you can see there, investment news and analysis from emerging frontier markets. So this is the new part to that. So all of this, we have people writing some very interesting things in all the different countries, from all the different regions around the world. And as an investor, you can go on there and you can do a bit of a deep dive into the economy and the political landscape, and what's working, what isn't, what other people are saying from on the ground.
One thing, if you sign up for that News Digest box, that means you're going to get all of this content also sort of delivered to your email inbox.
Exactly, and that's something we've been doing for a long time now. You'll get regular updates that summarizes all of these interesting articles you see here, and then it'll go straight to your inbox. So you can sign up for that. It's pretty straightforward. Select what you want to know about there, particularly, and put your email address in there, and you will be signed up to that list. But in terms of the portal, if we want to sign up as either an investor or an entrepreneur, you can click on portal there, and that brings you. You can see there, we're obviously looking for strategic investors ourselves and people to back this and help us develop it. So we've as a first project, we listed ourselves on there, and as we get more projects onto the platform, you'll see a summary. Just an insight that you can, without having to register, you can see a summary of the kind of projects that you can have access to if you register. So in both cases, as an investor or an entrepreneur, you click on the sign in, sign up button, and it takes you into the beta. It forgives us for a multitude of sins, hopefully, as with all beta products. And I've already signed up there, but obviously if you don't have an account, which if you're new to this you won't, register here, and it's a pretty straightforward process. Click on accept the terms, put your password in. Let me put that in. We can go through this live. Yes, as an investor, it's me. Yes.
You type really fast, Paul.
Lots of practice. There. And create account. And it'll probably tell me I've already got one because I have signed up with this email account.
So it's that simple. You just sign up and
it's that simple. Right? It really is that simple. Obviously, I chose the investor role here, but there's a drop-down box. You can choose the entrepreneur. And easy peasy, basically. Nothing really complicated to it. Create account. Yeah, it's not letting me do it this time because I've already signed up with this email account, but you get the gist. We'll receive an email that'll tell us that somebody signed up, and then we are running this for accredited investors. That's an important point to note. So there'll be a process where we verify that somebody is an accredited investor.
Explain that. Well, what do you mean with accredited investor?
Accredited investor is different in both the UK and the US, which is where we're starting our focus with. But it has to do with somebody's net worth and their level of expertise and sophistication, if you like, as an investor. Basically to avoid, because obviously frontier and emerging markets are high risk, can be high risk, and as for private equity, you don't get a lot of, hopefully we're changing that. Historically you won't get a lot of visibility, but that's what we're trying to provide to investors with this platform. But these investments can be liquid, they can be high risk, so you need to have some idea about what you're doing. You need to have an idea of the risks involved and be able to the money that you're investing. You need to be able to take a hit on that without it really messing up your investment portfolio. So yeah, that's basically
the interesting thing about it also is the accredited investor. It's a lot more democratic, right? Because a lot of these opportunities had a large minimum sizes reserved only for, let's say, institutional players.
Mm-hmm.
But you're taking what you mean with accredited investor, it goes all the way down to a net worth, which is a lot broader in number. I.e., you're talking about people. You can invest. What is it? Can you invest $50,000?
Yes, you can invest less than that.
Less, okay.
Yeah. It's a good point to make. Yeah, it's an accredited investor requirement, but as you said, usually we're talking about minimums in the millions in the larger institutional private equity space. This gives you the same sort of quality of deals and gives you probably more visibility on what you're actually investing in, but for a much lower minimum amount. So yeah, democratization and socialization of private equity.
Yeah, and also one of the reasons why you're going to be seeing us on screen so much is because one of the drivers of this is that it's also going to give people visibility. I mean, not just the word visibility, in the literal sense visibility, right? They're going to be able to see the entrepreneurs, the projects, and so on. So that's also a tremendously transparent setup. And I think it's also probably going to build a lot of trust, which usually, you got all this documentation, questionnaires, DDQs, and RFPs. But the fact that you're actually going to be able to access visually the opportunity to invest in entrepreneurs is also probably going to lower the paperwork and increase the trust level, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, these are all the wish list features that we're going to build into the platform as it develops. So right now it's really pretty basic. What we're trying to do now is grow our user base. Get people who are interested to at least register their interest, and some minimum functionality on, as you can see with the Emerging Frontiers listing, it'll tell you what the project is, who's involved, what they're trying to raise, etc., give you a chance to contact them. But yeah, moving forward, we very much want to build out that to something much more dynamic. So in the end, we'd like to be able to have these kind of calls directly with the founder of the business if an investor is interested in speaking to them, and straight away they can click and call through to them. So that's the kind of insight, access, visibility we're trying to build into this in the longer term.
That's pretty amazing. And so now we just had a look at what it looks like to investors. What does it look like for entrepreneurs? How does that work? How do they? Because obviously part of this proposition is where not only we're going to be, showing this to investors, but we're going to be opening the doors to any entrepreneur out there who's looking for funding, right?
Absolutely. And the sign-up process, I won't share the screen again because the sign-up process is the same. You just select your role as an entrepreneur instead of as an investor. But what it means to them, they will be notified that they've registered, and then we can approve them, and then they can upload details of the project they're trying to raise capital for, and there'll be, as we build this out, it's going to be a minimum requirement. We're still deciding on what that's going to be, but it's going to involve sort of how long they've been in business, how much they're trying to raise for, where they are, what their team looks like, etc. And if they meet all of those requirements, we'll speak to them, and then we'll go live, and they'll then be visible to the investors on the platform, and so that gives them access to people around the world that they otherwise wouldn't have had access to. So you get that exposure, and it also gives them an environment where they can share challenges that they have with other like-minded people and other business owners in other frontier and emerging markets in the new economy. And the new markets. So it may be an agricultural business in Mozambique, for example. They can chat online with people and share their thoughts and ideas with somebody who's got an agricultural business in Argentina or Brazil, and they may find that they can get a solution that they wouldn't have otherwise thought of because other people around the world in similar markets are facing similar challenges. And it's that purely that crowdsourced knowledge and insight that is really at the core of this sort of environment that we're trying to build.
Yeah, you mentioned crowd, and I think also crowd is important because apart from investors and entrepreneurs, this platform is also open to anybody who has something to show or say about frontier markets or emerging markets. So this door is open, right? This is like Hyde Park Corner for frontier market investors, I guess. Anybody can stand up
corner, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, the EFM, the Frontier Markets Corner, whatever. You can stand up on your soapbox and get something said. So, if you are out there, you have a blog, you see things that you find fascinating, things like that you want to share. This platform's open. So all the content you see there is open source. It's people bringing it to us, and we're just going to create this facility where all that stuff can be seen. So by all means, show up or point this to the people who you know have something to say. That's probably our biggest call to action right now, because what we're trying to grow is, I think we're trying to grow a community of people who really think that the world is a round globe that we can all run around and we can all access, and it's also for people who see the world as one economy, entirely integrated, right? So they're all welcome.
Absolutely. Anybody that sees this, and anybody that share the video, share the site, sign up, let us know you're out there. Get in touch. As an investor, as an entrepreneur, if you think this is a good idea that you want to back, as a business in itself, get in touch. We're looking for great partners with the right sort of capital, with the right sort of mindset. And yeah, absolutely, this is key. The crowdsourced element from people that are on the ground, that are writing about these things, that have the insight. Whether it's a blogger, a professional fund manager, even the teams that work around them, entrepreneurs in country. Everybody, if you've got something to say, get in touch, and we'll make sure it's heard by a group of like-minded people that's hopefully growing around the world.
It's a bit like a revolution, so please join it. But I mean, I think the next step in the call to action is it's www.emergingfrontiers.com and sign up to the list. Once you're on the list, you're in, and then we'll keep you posted and we'll keep you updated on all the things that are possible. And you can then gradually discover this platform, So definitely, if you think this is interesting, sign up or forward it to people who you may think will find this interesting. We're just trying to grow a big community, a community as we can. So it would be awesome if you could help us with that.
And we're at the very beginning of this journey, and we want to build a platform that you want as a user. So, speaking to investors, speaking to entrepreneurs, speaking to content providers, we want you to tell us what you want to see in terms of functionality, features, access, information, content. So help us build the platform that you want to use.
We couldn't say it more clearly. All right, so there you go. That was a little bit more of a practical introduction to the platform. The next Hangouts, it's gonna be, between Paul, myself, and probably also Kevin, who couldn't make it today. But the next episode, we're going to speak about if we need a new system. With the typical hedge fund performance not being what it was. The frontier markets are great, but inaccessible still. We're going to be speaking about, all those opportunities which for a bigger basis of investors in a set of it's a long list of countries where there's amazing growth and amazing opportunities. That's what we're going to be talking about next week. So stay tuned for that.
And I'm going to share a story about why these opportunities exist, and it relates to a bank in one of the frontier markets around the world, and it's a very interesting story. It'll make more sense as to why private capital is so very much needed in these markets by these smaller businesses. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you very much, Paul. And
thank you, Baldwin. Always a pleasure.
We'll be back very soon.
Thank you. Bye.